While it was a messy night last night in the Big Brother 27 house, as we saw that Amy was eliminated, and then we crowned a new HOH in Lauren. I think I said just a day or two ago that someone random like Lauren's going to win the HOH, even though they don't need it, and it might be messy. And that's exactly what happened. Lauren won an HOH she probably didn't need. Nobody was gunning for her. And now we get to see her actually play the game, which is good for us because we haven't gotten to see that. I'm glad I went easy on her these first 2 weeks of the season and said the fact that it is not a bad idea to start the game slow and not play hard, which is what she did. But now she has to play this HOH to fit her game, which is to not get a lot of blood on her hands. And I think that's the way she's going about her nominations. It's a good thing Jimmy got close or tried to get close to Lauren and Kat last week because he was the first person when the feeds came on after the HOH competition to try and sway her to do easy nominations this week and just put up the same people he did last week because they only got off the block because of powers, which was a good point by Jimmy. Kelly and Keanu only got off the block because of powers, and I think that stuck with Lauren, and it's a good idea. It was smart of Jimmy to tell her that, and I'm glad he did. But the main person in Lauren's ear was Vinnie. Vinnie has all these final twos throughout the house, and one of those people is Lauren. And I'm still very confused why these people are so trusting of Vince because he's just so transparent, in my opinion, in every single game conversation he ever has. Like, I get why he is good socially because he's good at, like, small talk and just talking about random, boring nonsense. But somehow that also translates to his game and it works. I think what he does is he just tells people what they want to hear, which should be transparent because of the way he does it to me watching it on feeds. But I think that a lot of these people are kind of egomaniacs and that kind of feeds their ego when he's just telling them whatever they want to hear. Riley tries to do the same thing, but Vince is a far more active gamer than Riley, which I guess is why he is in a good position, but also why his game is kind of messy and could easily fall apart because of all these final twos that he is making. Vince was, of course, pushing hard for Lauren to nominate Ashley. Vince has this tunnel vision towards Ashley, and it's part of many reasons why I don't like watching Vince, because you all know, if you watch my videos, that I love watching Ashley on feeds. And Vince is just a hater. It's really what it comes down to. Him and his ugly mustache is hating on Ashley. But luckily for Ashley right now, I don't think she's going to be lucky this week, I fear. But right now, Lauren is afraid to nominate Ashley because she knows Ashley might come back for revenge. Ashley winning that first veto and her bluntness has people kind of shook with her in that they want her out of the house, but do they want to be the person to try and take that shot? Especially with the blockbuster, she has two chances to come up off the block if she's the first nom. I do fear that Ashley might be the renom this week because that has been talked about and Lauren has mentioned a few times. And the things Lauren mentions the most are usually what she does because she can only think so hard. I think that she's been telling people all night last night that Keanu and Kelly were going to be two of the nominations. She just needed a pun. She stuck with that despite a lot of people, despite a lot of her allies trying to push back against her own ideas. And Rachel was the first one to go to Lauren and say, hey, run your own HOH because a lot of people are going to try and run it for you because they think you're a pushover. And she named Zach and Vinnie as those two people. And what do you know? They were two of the biggest pushers the entire night. Vinnie, the biggest one, though, by far, in my opinion. Later in the night, Ashley and Mickey also told Lauren to play her own HOH for her own game. And I would like to think that Lauren caught on to the fact that Vinnie tried to be in her ear the entire night. I don't know if I have enough faith in Lauren's brain power yet because I haven't seen it, but I think she's smarter than we give her credit for. I just think she's a very bad communicator. Like, watching her have some of these one-on-ones with the players as HOH was painful. She's not a great talker, which is why I said the people she names the most are probably who she's going to nominate. Ashley was one of those people. Adrian another. So if there's a renom, it might fall on those two. But let's talk about Adrian. Well, let's talk about the bond first. I've yet this entire season to say that this is an alliance that might be real because none of them have been. In fact, all season I've been saying that I don't care about any of these alliances because there's just so many variations, they don't matter, and I still feel that way. However, I was starting to think that maybe the bond could be real. The bond is Lauren, Ava, Zach, Will, Adrian, and Vince. I think it's. I think Will, Ava, and Adrian wanted it to be real. I don't think it's real for Vince and Zach because they have so many different alliances they have to keep up with. And then Lauren, who knows? She's hard to read because she hasn't really been playing. Now, Lauren wants to nominate Callie and Keanu, like I said, and Callie volunteered to be up on the block again. Callie really thinks she is the reincarnation of Tucker, and it's a joke because her veto power that she didn't win the veto, by the way, but the veto power that she had, anybody could have won that second veto, except for maybe Caitlin Herman because it was so easy. Anyway, Callie's dumb and volunteered to be up on the block again. I would love for Callie to go home this week, but if Keanu stays on the block, his ass is probably grass. Anyway, Lauren wanted to nominate Callie and Keanu with the third person being a pawn from the bond. And Lauren was mostly naming either Will or Adrian because she talks to them the least out of that alliance. And she really talks to Will the least, so she was leaning towards Will. Ava walks into the room when Zach and Lauren are talking about this, making the pawn pick. And Zach is also pushing for the pawn to be someone from the bond because they're the most level-headed. And then at one point, that conversation between Zach, Ava, and Lauren got really awkward when Zach kind of stopped and Ava kind of stopped, and it made it seem like Zach was saying, well, Ava could be the pawn too. And I don't think Ava liked that at all. Ava left that conversation going straight to Will and Vince complaining about Lauren's decision making, that if they're supposed to be this alliance, why would Lauren choose someone from the bond? If Kat's not in the bond, why can't Kat be put up on the block, but somebody from their alliance could be? Yeah, Ava was pissed. This was the first time we got to see Ava pissed on a playing level. And I think Ava basically told Will that he's probably going to be the pawn again, and Will was upset about that. Will was so upset that he went to bed, which I don't know if that was the smartest thing, because the bond were supposed to have a meeting later that night, and maybe Will could have swayed Lauren somewhere else. So I didn't like Will just going to bed. I know Will's upset now that the alliance isn't real if he goes up on the block, but is he going to do something about it? He's a lot of talk. I'm going to need some action from Will. I know he's the oldest player. I know he needed to go to bed, but come on. He could have done something last night rather than just going to bed. Ava kept ranting, though, after that to Vince, and we got this really funny moment when Callie came out, and it was very awkward because Callie was like, I've been looking around to talk to you, and Ava thought Callie was talking about her and made the most disgusted face ever. And then Callie was like pointing to Vince. She was talking about Vince. And then when Vince and Callie were talking, Ava kept making disgusted faces towards Callie. So yeah, Ava is upset, and I think we might start seeing the Italian come out of her. I don't know if that's good for her game, though, because she's saying that if Will is the pawn again, she's going to really be upset. The New York is going to come out of her. And I don't think that's good for her social game, her position in the house. I think this already last night kind of pissed off Vince towards her, because the bond's supposed to be level-headed. So Ava might, rise a target on her back. I don't think she would be a renom this week, though. Nah, I don't think she would. Her and Lauren are pretty close. They have a final two as well. So that would surprise me if Ava ends up on the block. But Ava might do damage for future rounds with her social standing. I think Vince is upset because Ava might blow up the bond, or Will might blow up the bond. So Vince, of course, went to Lauren again, trying to push for Ashley. Yeah, I think Vince is upset because he has all these different alliances, and if one blows up badly, it might hurt his social standing in the game as well. Now, at first last night, Zach, who supposedly hates Ashley, I've talked about how he wants to get close to her and then backstab her. He didn't push very hard for Ashley at first when Lauren was naming names. Even when Lauren first mentioned Ashley as a renom, he kind of pushed back on it a little bit. But by the end of the night, Zach was also pushing for Ashley because I think Zach maybe has a problem that the bond seems to might be blowing up, because that could be bad for his and Vince's game because they have too many damn alliances. Now, I love the fact that Ashley made sure to talk to Lauren first after Lauren got her HOH room and everyone cleared out. Ashley needed to do that because she is a big option for this week. Now, I don't know if Ashley did enough for Lauren to not be a renom. I have a hard time not seeing Ashley on the block this week unless someone wins the veto and doesn't use it. But with 3 people nominated, it's hard for one of the odds of one of them winning the veto are quite high. I clearly don't want Ashley to go home. She is feeds gold. She is running the entertainment on these feeds, so I need her to not go home this week. But there is that possibility. I think Ashley, I'm not going to run the numbers right now because I don't have time. I think Ashley would definitely stay over Keanu, but Ashley versus Kelly might be too close to call, and I don't love that. So, and then Ashley versus Will, yeah, it's over for Ashley. So Ashley needs to somehow not get on that block, but it's going to be hard. The only other person I could see Lauren putting up is Adrian. Adrian tried last night to talk to Lauren more, but he was the only other name Lauren mentioned to possibly be a renom. But maybe her mind will change. There's plenty of time to go. We'll get back to Adrian, though, because he kind of sucked it up last night. First, I want to talk about Keanu. He was also another one who tried and failed to get Lauren to put up Ashley. So Lauren did a lot of resisting to put up Ashley. I don't think that means necessarily that Lauren thinks she and Ashley could become closer. Although Ashley tried when she first was the first person to talk to Lauren after the HOH room. But I just think Lauren is afraid to put up Ashley because if Ashley comes off the block or if Ashley stays, she knows Ashley's coming for her because Ashley does have a shit list and Vinnie is still high on that shit list. And it's the way it's going. If Ashley does stay after going up on the block and Ashley wins HOH, Vinnie, Lauren, and Kat are going to see the block. All right, let's talk about Adrian. Adrian did exactly what I said he would do yesterday. He did it way sooner than I thought he would do, though. Adrian thinks he and Zach are BFFs. And much like all these self-proclaimed superfans in recent seasons, they just don't see the board very good socially because they don't have a social game. Adrian's social game is one of the worst in the house. I think that is the only reason why he and Callie are so close, because their social games are such shit. On opposite ends of the spectrum, though, Callie's a shit because she has this ego. She thinks she's like causing fights and that she's Tucker 2.0 when she's not, and people just can't stand her. And then Adrian just doesn't talk to the right people. Adrian tried to throw Vince under the bus last night because of Vince not talking a lot in the alliance meeting and talking about noms in front of other people. And the problem is Adrian tried to throw Vince under the block to Zach and later Lauren, 2 of people who have final 2s with Vince. Now, of course, Adrian doesn't know that they both have final 2s with Vince, but Adrian should know that Zach and Vince are close if he had any social capital or ability to see the board socially. Then Adrian threw Mickey under the bus, which, Zach kind of plotted that on because Zach is throwing Mickey's power under the bus left and right. I still hate the fact of the way production gave away that power with the rule that they have for the power. If it's going to be a secret HOH, you need to give it away secretly. But to give it away in a challenge when you're next to someone, could Mickey have done a little better at making it secret? Sure, but not enough. So the power is just going to backfire in Mickey's face. I hope she ends up not having to use it. But nonetheless, Adrian threw Mickey under the bus too. And I feel like Adrian is trying to work with Kat and Riley, who don't fuck with him. They don't give him any information. But Mickey tries, and Adrian throws her under the bus. Adrian does not have common sense when it comes to the social game. He just doesn't. So, yeah, Adrian got caught up in some shit last night because he tried to throw Vince under the bus to the wrong people. I think Ashley maybe got in his ear to do that, which is great for Ashley. Ashley might. I would love to see Ashley and Adrian actually work together closer, but Adrian has to have a better understanding of the board in order to do that. I don't feel like Adrian at least didn't throw Ashley under the bus too hard last night. And then on Ashley's side, she just talks so much that I love her. She's entertaining, but she could listen to Mickey more and talk less and listen more. A lot of the women are over Kat's bitchiness, and many of them were trying to push, not even the women, a lot of the guys too, like Zach, were trying to push Lauren to get Kat nominated this week, even though Lauren and Kat were supposed to be this close. I think that says a lot about how little respect they have for Lauren's game, that they think they could get her to put up Kat. Now, at the same time, I commend Lauren for preaching that she wants people to see her and Kat as separate people, that they're not, so close game-wise. That's good of Lauren to try and say, but her actions are going to cause the other thing to happen. Like, Kat and Lauren are probably going to sit on the block together at some point because Kat, people hate Kat. She is a bitch, and she is problematic so far, in my opinion, as I've talked about in the past few videos. So Lauren shouldn't want to be associated with her, and Lauren's trying to at least make it seem like she doesn't want to be. Now the mess continued throughout the wee hours of the morning when Ashley told Mickey that Zach has to go soon because Morgan's judgment is getting clouded by him because they're always cuddling. But then the best part was when Ashley finally told Zach to stop leading Morgan on, because Zach pretty much confirmed to Ashley that he does like Lauren, which was like obvious. And so I'm also glad that Ashley's bluntness finally told Zach, hey, you're leading Morgan on. I don't think Zach's going to love being called out by Ashley, and I think it may cause some more tension between Zach and Ashley. But also, like, it's obvious to everyone except Morgan that Zach is leading Morgan on, and Morgan's judgment in the game is being clouded by that. Anyway, I've rambled on enough. With Amy gone, nobody besides Adrian really pushed very hard for Rachel to go up last night. And so I would love for Rachel to stay under the radar this week somehow. She didn't do a very good job of that so far this morning because she didn't sleep well last night, and she's over everyone in the house being fake. And she told Keanu she didn't want one of his fake hugs today. So Keanu is going to probably rant and rave about Rachel all day. I don't know if that will be good for Rachel or not. But yeah, Rachel's in a bad mood today with Amy going last night. She says a lot of the house is fake. Morgan and Mickey tried to comfort her last night. I thought her and Ashley had some good conversations about where Morgan and Mickey actually stand in the house. Ashley and Rachel kind of need each other right now, so I hope they are able to work together. I also hope Ava stays under the radar. Well, actually, I don't. I want Ava's Italian to come out today when Will gets nominated. That would be fun to see. I still don't think Ava's going to get nominated, though. I think Ashley likely sees the block if there is a renom, unless Adrian really does too much, and Lauren and Ava completely blow up the bond, and Adrian gets caught in the crosshairs, and Lauren doesn't care to nominate another pawn from the bond because it's not a real alliance. Anyway, that's possible. But yeah, her initial noms, at least as of right now, of my recording, are going to be Keanu and Kelly, and then Will as a pawn. She hasn't talked to Will about being a pawn yet, so at least not what I've seen on the feed so far, because I've been recording for too long this morning. So I'll see you all some point tomorrow, possibly late tomorrow, maybe even tonight, though, if there's some drama.